Hello.
Hey,
Tim.
how are you, buddy?
Tim, what's going on, dude? You
How's it going, bro?
Man, we're doing good, dude. We just got done blasting fucking carnivorous abortion. And
sick.
That's some fucking badass shit, man. What the fuck, dude? What the fuck?
Thanks, dude.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah, dude. So tell us what's going on in the world of Embryonic Autopsy, man. What are you guys up to?
Well, we just got off a 7-week tour with Nile, 6 Feet Under, Psycroptic, and Embryonic Autopsy, and it was absolutely an amazing tour. Long tour. We literally covered the entire United States, coast to coast. Like, we're talking all the way, we're from Chicago, so we're talking all the way from Chicago to New York to the South, over to California, up through Portland, through Seattle, all the way back down through Denver, Colorado, and through Texas, and then back home. So it was an epic tour, and it just went so well. I mean, we couldn't have asked for a better tour or better coverage for the new record, you know?
Hell yeah, man. Fucking Nile and 6 Feet Under, too? Like, what the fuck, dude? Those guys are fucking amazing.
Oh, for sure. And what's great is we go way back with those cats, you know? Me and Jack Owen have been friends for, well over, at this point, 27 years. We went on the Cannibal Corpse Vial tour in 1997 with my old band Oppressor. And Jack was a member of Cannibal back then.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was an amazing tour, and that's where we became friends, and we've stayed friends ever since. And I've always admired Chris Barnes. I mean, he's the OG of all that. And oddly enough, over all these years, I've never actually met Chris Barnes face to face. But we became really good friends and really tight over this tour. So, I mean, that was just like an epic moment, because he's, you know, one of the OGs of brutal death metal and one of my favorite bands of all time, and to actually befriend him and get to talk to him and become friends after all these years of me like loving the band was surreal.
Yeah.
And oddly enough too, Nile, when they very first came out with the Catacombs of Neperka, I was in the band Oppressor, and we put a tour together. It was Oppressor, Gore, and I wanted 2 up-and-coming bands that I really respected, and I picked Cryptopsy and Nile, because I love those bands, and I really wanted them on tour, and they both said yes. So we called it the Death Across America Tour, 1998. It was Oppressor, Gorguts, Cryptopsy, and Nile, and it just annihilated. And, you know, we were all in our 20s. We did 32 shows in 33 days. I don't know how I couldn't do that now, but we did it back then, and that's how I became friends with those guys. So it was kind of like this whole big family reunion that we went on, like, all these years later. So I mean, it was just an epic tour.
Yeah, really cool bands, man. I've seen both of them live. Seen Nile a long time ago. I think it was the Annihilation of the Wicked tour, I believe. It was in a really small fucking just small dive bar out in Arizona when I was living in Phoenix, and it was so fucking loud, man. Really fucking badass. Yeah.
I'm just so proud of, you know, because I've been a Nile fan, you know, since I played in South Carolina, and Carl walked up and handed me their first demo. Yeah. I've been a fan.
Hell yeah.
So to see them become one of the like premier prominent death metal bands of that era, I'm just so proud of them, and so happy for them, and have so much respect for them that they became what they did, and outlasted all the crazy stuff that went on during, you know, the genre's ups and downs. I mean, I just have so much respect for Carl for keeping it alive, and that band for doing what they've done. It's been amazing.
Oh hell yeah, man, dude! I remember when they first came out, and it was like in the early I think it was like early 2000s. I remember I had a fucking membership at Columbia House. I actually fucking was like one of the few people that actually paid for the shit and kept it going. But they would send you these fucking catalogs in the mail to tell you like new stuff that was coming out. And they had a record in there from Nile, and it said in the description, it said that it was for fans of Slayer, like Seasons of the Abyss era shit. And naturally I was like, fuck yeah, you know. So I ordered it and I got the CD. Remember when I got it, me and my buddy were sitting in my car and I popped the CD in and we were sitting there listening to it. And we were both just blown away, but we both looked at each other like, this does not fucking sound like Slayer, dude. This is a whole different level, dude.
Exactly. I mean, maybe if they would have, maybe it was the At the Gates Slaughter of the Soul CD, it would have been a little bit more on point. But yeah,
I don't
those
know.
Nile records definitely are not like Slayer by any means.
I don't know who they had working in their department that was doing that shit, that was printing that stuff. Like they missed the mark on that. But hey, you know, like it worked because I bought it and been a fan ever since. But yeah, and 6 Feet Under, of course, Chris Barnes, Cannibal Corpse, man. I've had Chris Barnes on the show before. He's such a cool, down-to-earth dude, man. Like, nothing at all like what fucking some of the people on the internet and stuff fucking try to make him out to be, man. Like, he's really, really, actually really cool.
Oh, he's salt of the earth. I mean, he's just one of the coolest guys ever. And, man, you talk about a hard-working guy. He would practice his vocals. He would do the whole set in the back of their bus before he would go on so that his voice was warmed up and he knew the set backwards and forwards. I mean, he was so on point. I mean, 6 Feet Under, like, just annihilated every night. And Barnes sounded on top of his game more so than I've ever seen. You know, I mean, I've followed Cannibal Corpse from Butchered at Birth on, and one of my favorite shows I ever saw was the Tomb and Mutilated tour back in Chicago. And, you know, Barnes, he regained his voice and retrained it so that, I mean, he sounds amazing now. I mean, it's like he sounds back like he did in the 90s. And he worked hard at it, and I have to give him so many props because he really trained himself for this tour and really took it seriously, and it showed. I mean, they came out and they just delivered the goods every night. I mean, I would come out just to watch 6 Feet Under just slay it every night because they were just so good and so on top of their game. It was amazing. Yeah. Super amazing.
Oh yeah, he's fucking amazing, dude. I love all their shit, man. I've seen them live a bunch of times, and yeah, I like all the records, man. Like you know, I don't know. There's been some albums, I think, where people criticized him on his vocals, like a lot on them, because they said it sounded like it was like breaking up or something. But I actually liked that, like, even more so because of that. I was like, that's what it's supposed to sound like. You're fucking like dead, dude. Like you're like a, you know, like it's death metal, man. What the fuck? It's not supposed. This isn't fucking Celine Dion, dude. You know what I mean?
Oh, exactly. I mean, yeah, death metal should be about what comes from your heart and what's in your soul and what you're feeling at the moment. And, you know, bands that overproduce death metal records, I mean, that's kind of why I fell out of the scene for so many years. Is there were so many bands, like, and I hate to, you know, I don't want to call anybody out, but I'll give an example, like Gorefest, when they put out that one record after Erase. I forget what it was called. It was a record after that, and they sounded so commercial. And it's like, death metal is not meant to be commercial. Death metal is meant to stay underground. It's meant to mean something. It's meant to be like this special club and this special sect that only a few people get. And it doesn't mean you need to be a superstar to do it. It just means that you have to have the heart to do it. But so many of these bands got caught up in, wow, these records are selling, and these labels were like pushing them to make it more commercial and stuff, and it just backfired on them. It was terrible. It was a terrible time. And now I think a lot of the bands that even the newer bands are kind of getting back to the old mentality of, let's just keep it as brutal as possible and go for what we set out to do, which is make brutal, heavy, even, technical at times stuff, but let's keep it to where it's like this special club. And that's what I've always considered death metal for me. It's being part of this special club that not everybody's invited to. And that's what appeals to me so much about the genre and everything about it,
I mean, I'm a huge fan of all different kinds of metal genres, but death metal definitely has a special place in my heart, man. Like, ever since, I don't know, it was like 1991, I think, when I first heard Deicide, that first record.
Oh, yeah. They
actually played it on the radio where I was living. I was living in Maryland at the time, and there was this local station that was run by these college kids, and they would play all kinds of fucking wild shit, like nothing you would hear on Headbangers Ball or anything else, like nothing that was in the magazines. It was all this weird shit, and I used to tape record everything. And I remember one night they played Deicide and Sepultura and Obituary and stuff like that, and I just was obsessed, like, immediately, just like, what the fuck is this, man? It's so extreme, it's so crazy. How can you not be, like, I've always been on a quest for the heavier, the more fucking evil sounding fucking shit, and and speaking of that, you guys are fucking doing some fucking serious fucking shit right here, man, on this record, man. This is some badass shit, dude.
I really appreciate that, and for you to say that, I mean, so much respect to you for realizing that, because what we really wanted to do with this band is go back to the 90s style old school death metal that we all grew up on, that we loved, that was just so special to our hearts, because it was like, and not to bash on anything like newer nowadays, because there's a lot of new bands out there that I love, like Extermination Dismemberment and Sanguzabog, if I'm saying that right.
Yeah.
It's just like some of those bands are just so fucking awesome, and I love them to death. But with this band, me being from Oppressor and in the old school and stuff like that, I really wanted to bring back a band that got into that old school Cannibal Corpse, Grave, Unleashed, Entombed, Suffocation, early Suffocation, stuff like that, like the stuff I grew up on, early Napalm Death, like Harmony Corruption era, Deicide type stuff, because that's the stuff I fell in love with. That's what made me want to love this genre so much. And I feel a lot of the bands nowadays, they just try to out-tech each other. Like, they just try so much to be so technical, and they kind of forget where the brutality lies. And that's what I really want to do with this band, is bring back the brutality, yet bring back the groove and the vibe of where it all began, back in the late 80s, early 90s type stuff,
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah. Dude, I got a question for you from the chat room. Somebody wants to know, they said you played with some killer bands, but who is your dream band to play with at a show? Who have you not gotten to play with yet that you really want to?
That's a tough question to answer, because there's a few.
What would be the lineup? I mean, be a better question.
Like if I could get I've played with these bands on festivals and some off dates and stuff like that, but if I could have like a dream tour, like a literal dream tour, it would be with my favorite bands that influenced me. Like, if I could do a Cannibal Corpse, My Dying Bride, which is a band that hugely influenced me lyrically, Carcass, Napalm Death, Obituary, who am I missing? This, 6 Feet Under, which we just toured with, Deicide, those old school Suffocation, top tier bands. We've done a ton of shows and we've toured with those bands, but if I could get like a tour together in 2025, 2026, it would be so cool if somebody out there would, you know, an agency would just be like, let's form a, you know, an old school death metal package with the greatest, and then put some of the like newer bands that are like carrying on in the footsteps, like us and Sanguzabog and stuff like that, and do something like that. I think that would be like my dream tour, like a almost like an Ozfest of death metal, so to speak. Like put all those big bands on the main stage, and then put all us up and comers on the second stage, so that people could check out us paying homage to all those bands that influenced us. That would be like my dream tour.
Man, I'd buy tickets to that shit, dude.
I would too. I'd pay to play that one. I'd tour for free on that.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. Fuck yeah, man. Yeah, I was gonna ask you about your influences growing up, but I guess you kind of fucking already answered that, man. I mean,
oh yeah, it's all the old school stuff. In fact, the crazy little story. Now I'll keep it short. I was playing in this band, and it was a metal band, but it wasn't, you know, death metal or thrash or anything like that. But I had this white Beastie Witch Warlock bass, and I loved it. But this dude walked up to me and he's like, "Hey man, I got a death metal band together, and I love your stage presence and I love your bass. You want to come try out for us?" I go, "What's death metal?" And he goes, "Here's my phone number. Call me. Come over to my house." So I called him because I was intrigued. Came over to his house. He played me Death, Spiritual Healing, the first Deicide record, Napalm Death, Harmony Corruption, and Obituary, Cause of Death. And we listened to it like for an entire afternoon, and I was hooked. I'm like, my God, I want to be in a band with you. This is like insane. And I was, from that day forward, I was hooked on death metal. That was sometime in 1990. Yeah, and it changed my life. It really did, dude. I owe a lot to that dude that called me up on that. But that's literally where I come from. Is like the early stages of all that sort of stuff. Like, you know, Morbid Angel and Cannibal Corpse, and, you know, later on, you know, 6 Feet Under and Obituary and Deicide, and where I really got a lot of influence, though, like lyrically, though, when I was doing the Oppressor stuff, is like My Dying Bride and Paradise Lost. They just had some of the coolest vibes they were dark, but they still told a story. And that's what I really liked. They didn't try to gross anybody out or like be like satanic stuff for the sake of being satanic. They really had like things to say, and it was really dark, but it was dark in a very beautiful way. And those two bands like really influenced me vocally back in the day. Of course, with Embryonic Autopsy, you look at our song lyrics and stuff like that, and I kind of changed the script because I wanted to have it mean something, yet I still wanted it to stand out to where people are like, what in the hell is this song title called Dripping in the Vaginal Nectar? Like something that would make my mom go, I'm so disappointed in you. Like that type of stuff, you know? Like back, you know, as old as I am, it's just like I wanted something that would churn people's stomachs and be like, what are you doing, man? Why are you doing this at your age? And that's really what I want for. But at the same time, me and Scott, the guitar player for Embryonic Autopsy, were very infatuated with the alien theories of how we see that, you know, possibly, you know, we're not conspiracy theorists or anything like that, but possibly like the Aztecs and the Mayans and the Egyptians were influenced by aliens possibly coming down and showing them technology that they didn't quite understand, and the crash at Roswell and the technology we have nowadays. It's just insane. I mean, back when I was growing up, we got the first microwave oven, and we thought it was the greatest thing since sliced bread. And all of a sudden, you got an iPhone that can basically do anything at the palm of your hands. I mean, how did technology catch up that fast?
It's fucking it's alien technology, dude. I'm with you 100% on that shit, man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we incorporated in Embryonic Autopsy with that, along with kind of being gross and sick at the same time. So I kind of wanted to take gore metal, but incorporate it with somewhat of a story and a philosophy behind it. So I think we pulled it off pretty well because people seem to be receptive to it. But I totally believe in all that. There's no way that the human race can go from the first microwave where I was blowing up eggs back in the early 80s in my parents' microwave to where I've got a cell phone that can do actually anything. No. And you can take a picture and send it to Japan.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how old you are, but back in my day we were taking photos, developing them, and then we'd have to send them in the mail, and they get them like 3 weeks later, and you'd hope they'd turn out.
Yeah, no.
Now you take a photo. Oh, that sucks. Let's take another one. Let's send it to my buddy in Botswana.
Yeah, no. I'm almost 50, man. So I totally know what you're talking about, dude.
There you go, bro.
I totally know what you're talking about, man. Yeah, it's. I mean, it's so fucking obvious. It's like fucking. I mean, come on. Like I don't even understand why there's even an argument anymore at this point. Like, come on, just fucking admit it. Like fucking. And a lot of shit has been coming out lately. There's a lot of stuff's been leaking out but nobody's really paying attention. Nobody's fucking talking about it. It's crazy, man, because they're also distracted with other shit. I'm like, fuck, this is wild, man. But
yeah. Oh, distraction is the key, man. You distract people enough, and then you slip in some truth, and then it just kind of gets absorbed as the norm,
Yeah.
That's why it's just kind of, you flood people with so much information that you don't know what's true or what's not anymore. And then when the truth does come out, you kind of question whether it's believable or not, but they're actually telling the truth, and very few people, like, sink into it. And the ones that do are like, well shit, I knew that. I was thinking about that all along,
I mean, I think they're trying, it feels like they're trying to prep people in a way, with, like, for the last couple decades, we've had ancient aliens and stuff like that on mainstream fucking TV, on the History Channel and shit, like, really driving it home. I mean, they're going on they're like 20-something season now. It's still going, man. But
oh, yeah.
All that shit, but like, you dig in deeper, man. I got that book from Eric Von Daniken, Chariots of the Gods. When that shit first started, I went out and bought that book and I read it, man. That's such a cool book because the whole fucking thing, like everything in there is he's just asking questions. He's like, I don't know, he's not saying anything, he's just asking questions constantly throughout the whole thing, and it's like it makes you think and it makes you question things and makes you wonder. And I think that's good, people need to think more,
Oh, absolutely. Because it's so easy just to buy into social media. I mean, I get distracted all the time. In fact, I was talking to our bass player while we're on this tour, because, when you're on tour, you get bored and you start watching YouTube and all this stuff. We really got into this stupid thing, and it's going to sound ridiculous, but, we started watching YouTube, and there's these things where there's these, people from Indonesia and Singapore and places where they put these little tiny, like, live small crabs in these pots, and they're still crawling around, and they'll take, like, vegetables and stuff, and they'll crunch on these crabs, like, live, and just eat them, like, alive. But it wasn't so much that, but it was, like, the satisfaction of hearing the crunch, which I don't know if I'm making sense whatsoever by saying this, but we got so indulged by the fact that this crunch was so, like, crazy that we started, like, sending these videos to each other while we were on tour, like, did you see this? Like, they're crunching these crabs raw and stuff, and it's just like, it was such a distraction from real world, like, problems that are going on. There's wars going on and people suffering and dying and stuff, and we're watching these stupid videos with these people eating crabs that are still alive because we enjoyed the sound of the crunch on
Yeah.
I mean, YouTube and Instagram. I mean, it's like those things are such a distraction to people like focusing on the real world problems. And you know, I'm just as guilty as anybody else because, like I just told you, I'm watching, you know, people scoop up stuff and crunching on crabs and listen and being like, oh man, that's a satisfying crunch. It's so stupid, you know, but it's just so weird the way, you know, we get distracted by so many inferior things that don't correlate to, you know, the real world problems that are going on. And I think that's a major problem that we all have that's going on, you know.
It is, but at the same time, it's like you can't just let yourself get all consumed with all the fucking negative shit, you know. Like, I mean, I don't know. Sometimes you just have to sit back and watch something stupid and just fucking have a good laugh, you know, and try to fucking. Because I mean, what you know, what can you do, man? You know, like the world is
absolutely
fucking, it's crazy, dude.
And you know, the little guy like me and you and most of our friends and everything. It's like, what are we gonna get out of trying to start a revolution? We're gonna get arrested. We're gonna get, you know, looked at by the government. All this stuff. It's almost like when you reach a certain age, it's kind of like, what's the point? You know, you just try to live the best life you can and do the best you can, and you know, raise your voice when you think you can, and hope for the best. But you know, but what does really help is entertainment. And what I've seen recently is such a surge in like live concert attendance and people buying merchandise and people like engaging in entertainment and movies and stuff. And it's really good to see that people are actually taking an outlet to their aggression or pent up emotions instead of lashing out with, you know, shooting up a school or, you know, beating somebody up. They're going out and they're getting in a mosh pit. They're going to a concert and enjoying it and screaming, you know, as loud as they can. You know, that's the greatest thing about what me and you do is we entertain people and we give an outlet for people to, you know, express themselves and to actually let their aggressions and feelings out. And you know, there's something to be said about that. And that's why I've been in extreme metal and death metal and stuff since I was 16 years old, forever, you know, since the early 90s, and it never left me because it is, and no matter what I do, it's always been my outlet to almost calm down in a sense of, you know, you listen to a great song or you get in a mosh pit or you stage dive or you go to a concert or you see a horror movie, which I love. It gives you this outlet to forget about some problems for a while and let things go a little bit, you know?
Man, that has always been my argument too. You know, me and my wife started a festival here in our small town, Tennessee, a few years ago, and when we started it, immediately we got backlash from the church and the locals that were trying to fucking protest it and stop it because they were saying we're bringing satanic fucking music to the town and like it's gonna corrupt the kids and all this shit. And we're like, what the fuck, man? But the whole thing is like, no, it's we're giving these kids an outlet where they can come out and just be themselves, have a good time, get their aggression out. Like you said, instead of going to a school and shooting people up and being stupid and doing fucked up shit like that, you know, instead of doing all these violent acts, get your shit out. Just go out there and headbang, mosh with your friends, and you feel better afterwards, man. You really do, you know.
Oh hell yeah! It's therapy. Like music is therapy, especially extreme music, because it really lets it out. I mean, that's so awesome that you started that in your town. I mean, it almost sounds like, you know, a part out of Footloose.
It is, yeah. A lot of people said it was like that. Yeah, for sure, man. It's definitely like that, for sure. It's calmed down a little bit now, but there's still people, politicians, fucking all kinds of people, fucking trying to stop shit, man. It's fucking crazy. But not to change the subject, but there was something you mentioned earlier that had me thinking. You were talking about meeting up with kids back in the old days, in the 90s, and meeting some kid that had fucking records that you could listen to and turning you on to stuff, man. Those were the days, dude. Like that really reminds me of what it was like back then, before the internet and before everything was so you could just, now you can find anything and everything, and that's not bad, but like back in the day, there was a different connection with it because it was very personal, like I remember, going over to an older kid's house and being like, I like this, and he'd be like, oh, well, you got to check out this, and he'd let me borrow some tapes or something, and go home and listen to it and just blow your mind, and like that shit would stick with you.
I mean, yeah, I miss those days so much, and I'm so conflicted too at it because back like in our day, back in the early 90s and stuff, you'd buy an album or you'd buy a cassette or a CD or whatever format that you got your hands on, and you would well, at least me, I would listen to the record. Oh yeah. I'd read the lyrics. I'd read the liner notes. I'd look at every aspect of that packaging, and it would mean so much to me, from the music to the production to who did the records to who they thanked to what the lyrics meant to all that. Yes. And nowadays when you listen to Spotify or Apple Music or whatever, YouTube or whatever platform you listen to it, you're missing out on that because you're getting bits and pieces of it. I mean, part of me, like somebody who cares about the environment, is like, okay, they're not using plastics, they're not cutting down trees, they're not using dyes, they're not exploiting factory workers to make CDs and vinyl and this stuff, and that kind of makes me happy. But at the same time, you're losing the experience that you had from buying a record, sitting there and examining it and showing it to your friends and getting them to buy it. And it was this whole, like, part of being a special club. Nowadays, you listen to one song, you get halfway through, you're like, okay, a butterfly just flew across my screen, I'm going to go chase that. You miss it. Kids nowadays are missing out on so much great stuff and so much experience that they literally could have. But I will say, in defense of that, since I formed Embryonic Autopsy in 2021, we're looking on, close to 4 years now. What's amazing about it is death metal still sells CDs and vinyl. Like, on this Nile 6 Feet Under, Psycroptic Embryonic Autopsy tour that we just did, we reordered from our record label Massacre Records 6 times. We reordered CDs and vinyl because we kept selling out of them. That's bad. And that just told me that these people are buying that not just to get our autographs on the cover of it, but they're buying it to have that experience. And I know that, and so many of them told me they went back home and they opened it up and they read the lyrics and they looked at the packaging and they put it on their, vinyl or their vinyl player or the CD player or whatever, and they just enjoyed it like the way we used to enjoy it. And it reinvigorated me to extreme music, to the fact that I'm just so, like, I don't know, I feel like almost like in a Rocky movie sense, I feel reborn. Like Apollo Creed said to Rocky in number 4, he's like, man, I feel reborn again, because I really do. I feel kind of like everything's coming full circle and I feel reborn again, and I have this new passion for music, because the people that are still in the extreme music scene and still listening to death metal and black metal and extreme metal, whatever you want to call it, whatever label you want to put on it these days, they're enjoying the same thing that we enjoyed back in the day. They're buying the physical product to look at it, to feel it, to experience it, to, you know, listen to it for the music, then listen to it and read all the lyrics, and listen to it and look at the liner notes. It's insane. And to be back in that club again after a few years of being out of it, it just warms my heart. It's amazing.
Absolutely, dude. 666% fucking agreement on that, man.
I like that. I like the way you put that. That's a good one. Good line.
I was always big into that too myself, man. I was always reading all the liner notes and the thank you notes and stuff like that, and I think there's definitely still an underground movement of people who are still doing that to this day. Definitely, especially with death metal and underground genres. But you know, it trips me out because, like, when I got into this whole radio thing, I started getting records and reading the fucking liner notes, and I've seen my own name fucking mentioned in the thank you notes in there, and I'm like, what the fuck? This that really trips me out. Because I'm like, you know, because I'm still the kid sitting on his bed in his bedroom listening to those records with my earbuds on, you know, and just going to town. But like, now it's like, to be able to be a part of it too, it's weird, man. Well, it's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it gives you a little bit of a high, and it also solidifies the fact that, you know, people appreciate what you're doing and know that you're true, and that your heart's true into it. I mean, honestly, I mean, how this whole interview came about, James Murphy is a very good friend of mine, and he played on both records that we put out. On the last record, Origins of the Deformed, he played 3 solos on it, and I literally saw on his page, because we're friends, that he was doing an interview with you, and I tuned into it. I'm like, this is a great interview. This guy, you know, really loves and appreciates what he's doing. And I looked you up, and I emailed you to your thing and said, hey, would you be interested in talking about Embryonic Autopsy? And you got right back to me, and you're like, yeah, man, let's do it. And that's literally how it happened. I didn't have my publicist from Massacre Records reach out to you. I didn't have an outside source. I literally listened to your James Murphy interview, which I loved, and it was awesome. And I saw James post it, and I reached out to you because I wanted to be a part of it. I wanted to be on your show, and that's literally how it happened. So whatever you're doing, keep on doing, because you're doing something right, because you're intriguing people, and that's something special, man.
Thank you, dude. Thank you. That means a lot, man. Yeah, I appreciate it, dude. And yeah. When you emailed me that, I was like, fuck yeah, man. Let's do this, man. Fucking listen to a little bit of the music, and I was like, shit, this is fucking badass. What the fuck?
Well, thank you. I appreciate that too.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, for people out there listening, man, where's the best place for them to go to support you guys, buy some merch and buy some music and stuff?
Yeah, the best place for us is if you go to Facebook and just type in Embryonic Autopsy, our page will pull up. If you go to Instagram, type in Embryonic Autopsy, it'll pull us up. Other than that, you know, I mean, everything's run by the band. So if you go to the Facebook or the Instagram pages, I was very, very careful when we formed this band to make sure there were no other Embryonic Autopsies out there, because I didn't want it to be confused with like 5 other bands that might have the same name. So you type in Embryonic Autopsy, it'll pull us up, hands down, and go to the Facebook, go to the Instagram, and you can see everything we got going on. We just finished that huge USA tour. We've got a lot more on the horizon, and the new record, Origins of the Deformed, came out, I'm going to say about 6 months ago, so it's still fairly new. But you know, we're working on new material and everything. We got a lot coming up. We just signed with a new booking agency, TKO, the Kirby organization. So we've got plenty of upcoming tours that we're going to be announcing soon, and some great stuff happening. So just visit the pages, look at what we got going on, and hopefully we'll see some of you out there, you know?
Well, if you ever want to come play in Jackson here at our festival, man, hit us up, dude. Fucking, we'll make it happen, man.
Hey, man, just invite us. We'll be there. Right. I would love to. Gotcha. We love to support, you know, mini fests, up-and-coming fests, you know, the biggest of the big and the medium of the medium, whatever it is. You know, if it's true and it's about death metal and it's about supporting the scene, we're all about it. We'll make it happen. It would be an honor to play your fest if you invited us.
Hell yeah, dude. Hell yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not Vakken, it's not Woodstock, but we got a fucking loud PA. We got a cool stage. It's definitely a cool setup, man. We'll hit you up.
Yeah, that doesn't matter. As long as there's people there enjoying themselves and, you know, being a part of the scene, that's all that matters to us. You know.
Yeah.
We played to 5 people. We played to, you know, 10,000 people in this band, and every show there's one person I need to reach, you know, give props to, and what's crazy. He's my manager from Oppressor, but he's our publicist for Embryonic Autopsy. He works for Massacre Records. His name's Dustin Hardman, and he told me something a long time ago. We're talking probably 25 years ago. And he said, listen, whether there's 5 people watching you or 5,000, you need to give the best performance of your life, like it's your last performance you're ever going to play, because whether 5 people showed up or 5,000 people showed up, it doesn't matter, because those 5 people that showed up, it's not their fault that 5,000 didn't show up. So you better give them the show of their life. And that's something I've carried with me for all these years, because it's very true. When you put on a show or you put on a festival or you do whatever, however many people come out to that, they paid for a ticket to see a show. They came and took time out of their day to see a show. And it's not their fault that more people didn't show up. And like I said, we played festivals in front of 5 people, or shows in front of 5 people, and shows in front of 20,000 people. But, you know, you got to give it like it's the same show every time. And that's something I've lived by since day one, since Dustin ever told me that. And Dustin, if you're listening, you know, thank you for that. So it's just like, that's what a lot of bands need to remember, you know.
Hell yeah.
It doesn't matter how many people show up. Everybody that did show up paid to see you or came to see you, and it's not their fault that, you know, nobody else came, you know.
Well, I'll tell you, this area here, man, they are hungry for it, man. Like last year, we had about 3,000 people show up, man, and there was no bands there was nothing mainstream on the fucking lineup. It was all pretty much underground. Like it was pretty mind-blowing, man. But like the people around here, they just, because Jackson sort of sits in the middle of Memphis and Nashville, and everybody around here is tired of fucking driving all the way to Memphis or Nashville to go to a show, you know. So a lot of people around here just never see anything. And
I've been to Jackson a few times. It's an awesome town. But you're right. It's kind of like smack dab in the middle of, you know, more people book things to the more major cities. But, you know, that's awesome. You got 3,000 people. I mean, we would be honored to play your festival. So let's keep in touch and let's make something happen.
And they buy the fucking shit out of merch, man. I'm telling you what, man. These people around here, they save up all fucking year for it, dude. They go crazy, man. So, yeah, definitely.
That's sick, bro.
Hell yeah.
That's sick.
Hell yeah. Well, dude, I'm about out of questions for you. Is there anything else you want to let the people know?
Well, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to interview me.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking the time to support underground death metal. Keep doing what you're doing. If it wasn't for people like you, you know, this scene wouldn't be what it is. So thank you. You know, horns up to what you're doing. Horns up to all the fans out there. Check out Embryonic Autopsy. We've got 2 albums out. We're on Massacre Records. Like I said, you know, just dig into us on Facebook. Type in Embryonic Autopsy on that, or Instagram. You can find us. and hopefully we'll be in a town near you soon if we haven't already been. Thank you so much for this interview. It's been great.
Thank you, dude. Before I let you go, can I get you to make us a station tag real quick?
Absolutely.
All right, whenever you're ready, say something like, "This is Tim from Embryonic Autopsy, and you're listening to Metal Devastation Radio."
Hey, everybody. This is Tim from Embryonic Autopsy. You're listening to Metal Devastation Radio. If you don't crank that shit up, we're going to fucking kill you.
Fuck yeah, man. Badass. Badass. All right, well, thanks so much, Tim, for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to blast some more Embryonic Autopsy for these motherfuckers so they can go crazy, all right?
Thanks, man. Let's keep in touch, and I'll talk to you soon, brother. Thank you again for the interview.
We will talk soon, man.
Take care, brother.
Later.
Bye-bye.
There you have it, folks. Embryonic Autopsy live on the Zach Moonshine Show with Metal Devastation motherfucking Radio. Like I said earlier, put your speakers in your windows, put them in your front lawns, put them in your neighbor's driveway. Do whatever you got to do, man. If you don't see U-Haul trucks everywhere tomorrow, what the fuck are you even doing, man? Crank it up.